Thousands of years ago, tribes fought for one thing: survival. Stone weapons were simple, but deadly. The deadliest enemy was the one hiding in the forest. One hunting ground could decide the fate of an entire tribe. When night fell, no village was truly safe. Only the strongest warriors lived to tell the story. But every victory came with a heartbreaking cost. These forgotten wars shaped the future of humanity. Let's go back to the Stone Age. Life in the Stone Age was never peaceful. Every sunrise brought a new struggle to stay alive in a world ruled by nature. Food, water, and shelter were everything. Without them, an entire tribe could disappear before the next season arrived. Families followed herds across endless forests, frozen rivers, and wide valleys, searching for enough food to survive. As more tribes hunted the same land, peaceful encounters became increasingly rare. At first, they simply watched each other from a distance, hoping to avoid unnecessary conflict. But every harsh winter made food scarcer, forcing rival tribes into the same hunting grounds again and again. A single mammoth, a river full of fish, or a fertile valley could become worth fighting for. There were no borders, no kings, and no written laws. Only strength decided who controlled the land. Every successful hunt meant another week of survival, while every failure brought hunger closer to the village. Before long, stone spears were raised, and the first tribal wars of the Stone Age had begun. Long before bronze or iron, every weapon was created using nothing more than stone, wood, bone, and incredible patience. Hunters spent hours shaping sharp flint into blades, carefully striking each piece until it became razor-sharp. Heavy stone axes served two purposes: cutting trees during peaceful times and defending the tribe during war. The spear quickly became the most valuable weapon, allowing hunters to attack from a safer distance. Even young warriors trained every day, learning how to throw accurately and move quickly across rough terrain. Experienced elders passed their knowledge from one generation to the next, teaching every lesson earned through survival. A strong weapon alone was never enough. Skill, timing, and teamwork often mattered even more than raw strength. Before every conflict, tribes repaired broken weapons, gathered supplies, and prepared for the worst. The warriors knew that careful preparation could decide the outcome of a battle before the first spear was ever thrown. In the Stone Age, survival belonged not only to the strongest tribe, but to the one that prepared better than everyone else. Deep forests were among the most dangerous places in the Stone Age, not because of wild animals, but because enemies could be hiding anywhere. Hunters entering unfamiliar territory rarely knew if another tribe was silently following every step they took. Experienced scouts stayed perfectly still behind rocks, fallen trees, and thick bushes, waiting patiently for the perfect opportunity. Without speaking a single word, warriors communicated through simple hand signals that everyone understood instantly. The best ambushes happened in narrow valleys or forest trails where escape routes were almost impossible to find. When the signal was finally given, dozens of stone spears suddenly flew through the air toward the unsuspecting hunters. Panic spread within seconds as frightened warriors searched for enemies they could barely see through the trees. The battle quickly turned into brutal hand-to-hand fighting with stone axes, wooden clubs, and sharp flint knives. Those lucky enough to escape rushed home carrying terrifying stories about invisible enemies hiding inside the forest. After countless deadly ambushes, every journey into the wilderness became a dangerous gamble between survival and death. Not every tribal war began because of hatred. Most started because two tribes desperately needed the same source of food. Wide valleys filled with mammoths, giant deer, bison, and wild horses became some of the most valuable places in the Stone Age. Finding a healthy herd could feed an entire village for weeks, making every successful hunt incredibly important. When rival tribes reached the same hunting ground at the same time, neither side wanted to surrender such a precious opportunity. Arguments between tribal leaders often lasted only moments before someone finally raised a weapon. The first spear thrown usually marked the end of negotiation and the beginning of a fierce battle for survival. Warriors charged across the open valley while frightened animals scattered in every direction to escape the violence. The victorious tribe earned food, valuable animal hides, and control over the hunting grounds for another season. The defeated survivors were often forced to abandon their homes and begin another long search for safe territory. For Stone Age people, protecting a hunting ground meant protecting the future of every family, every child, and every generation yet to come. The most terrifying attacks often happened long after the sun had disappeared behind the mountains and forests. As villages fell asleep, small groups of enemy warriors quietly moved through the darkness without making a sound. The cold wind helped hide their footsteps, while fading campfires made it difficult for guards to see beyond the village. Patient scouts carefully watched every tent, every entrance, and every warrior standing watch before the attack began. Their goal was speed and surprise, striking before the sleeping tribe could organize any defense. Within moments, frightened families woke to the sound of shouting as warriors rushed to grab their stone weapons. The narrow paths between mammoth hide tents quickly became chaotic battlefields filled with confusion and fear. While defenders fought to protect their families, the attackers seized food, tools, animal hides, and valuable supplies. Before sunrise, the raiders disappeared back into the forest, leaving smoke, destruction, and unanswered questions behind. For many Stone Age tribes, surviving the night could be just as difficult as surviving the hunt itself. Not every warrior became a legend, but every legendary warrior earned respect through years of survival. From childhood, young hunters trained almost every day to become stronger, faster, and more disciplined than before. They learned to throw spears with precision, swing heavy stone axes, and move silently through forests without leaving tracks. The greatest warriors also understood the land, reading footprints, broken branches, and animal behavior like an open book. Experience taught them when to fight, when to retreat, and when avoiding battle was the smartest decision. Older hunters passed their knowledge to younger generations, knowing these lessons could one day save the entire tribe. True leaders inspired courage during battle while remaining calm even when surrounded by overwhelming danger. Their greatest strength was not only physical power, but also patience, teamwork, and clear thinking under pressure. Because of their skill and leadership, entire villages survived winters, migrations, and countless tribal wars. In the Stone Age, legends were remembered not for seeking war, but for protecting the people who depended on them. The battle eventually ended, but the scars it left behind remained for many generations to come. Victorious tribes celebrated their survival, yet they also remembered the warriors who never returned home. Families gathered around campfires, honoring loved ones whose courage had protected the tribe through impossible battles. The defeated tribes faced an even harsher future, leaving behind familiar lands in search of a safer place to live. Many carried only a few tools, animal hides, and precious memories as they crossed forests and frozen rivers. Even the strongest tribe often discovered that victory had come at a terrible cost of lives and precious resources. As winter arrived, rebuilding homes and finding enough food became just as important as winning the war itself. Children watched the survivors repair villages, learning that survival required hard work long after the fighting had ended. Soon a new generation began training, knowing peace could disappear as quickly as it had arrived. For Stone Age people, every victory was only the beginning of the next challenge. Over thousands of years, tribal wars changed far more than the boundaries between neighboring groups. Communities became larger because people realized cooperation offered a better chance of survival than standing alone. Villages slowly grew stronger, building better shelters, safer storage areas, and more organized defenses against future attacks. Experienced hunters passed down their knowledge, teaching younger generations how to hunt, fight, and protect one another. Every conflict encouraged people to improve their weapons, their strategies, and the way they worked together. Some tribes chose to migrate, carrying their skills and traditions into distant lands across mountains and rivers. These journeys spread ideas, technologies, and cultures that slowly shaped the future of human civilization. The wars of the Stone Age were brutal, but they also pushed humanity to adapt faster than ever before. Without those constant struggles for survival, our ancestors might never have become the resilient people they eventually were. The story of the most dangerous tribal wars reminds us that the road to civilization was built through courage, sacrifice, and the determination to survive.